Welcome to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I'm going to be recapping and reviewing The Valley Season 2, Episode 1. This season promises to be crazy. Episode 1 called Separation Anxiety. After a roller coaster first season, things pick up where we left off and chaos ensues as the group deals with the fallout of long-term relationships dissolving, the rumor mill continuing to run, and friendships fracturing and possibly beyond repair. Returning this season, Danny and Nia, Luke and Kristen, Jason and Janet, Brittany, Jasmine, Jesse, Michelle, Jax, and Zach. We got Jasmine, Michelle, and Zach's significant others, Melissa, Aaron, and Benji, also arriving. And then a friendly faces, Lala, Tom, Sheena, and Brock find themselves choosing a side in the drama within their friend group. This episode kicked off with us seeing Jax getting chastised by everyone, including his wife, saying she is filing for divorce, putting a restraining order out against him, and he said he's going to get help and checks himself into a rehab. And of course, the episode rewinds 7 days earlier. This episode only reminded me how amazing season 1 was. Just this little beginning. You know what I mean? It's hard to forget. It was only a year ago. But Jesse said, and this is recapping, right? Jesse said that Michelle has moved out and it was a weight lifted off his shoulders. He puts eyeshadow on his daughter, and then Mama is not too thrilled about that. Jason and Janet's new baby is great. She talked about sucking up barf out of a straw. That sounded disgusting. Kristen and Luke are still trying to have the baby, which is exciting because we're going to get to follow this journey. I cannot wait to see the moment where she finds out that she's pregnant, because obviously we already know she is. But he wants her to be a little bit more healthy. And then she jokingly said in the 70s, like nobody really, cared. They were smoking, they were drinking, all these other things. Danny said 3 under 3 is way harder than everybody told him it would be. I don't know whoever told him the idea that 3 under 3 would be like even a good idea, because that sounds horrendous to me. Brittany and Jax are split up, and she mentioned coming home and trying to work on things. However, the guy she was talking to, Jax, saw messages on an iPad. That in a video she sent a guy. Apparently, Jax flipped over a coffee table and said she was cheating on him. However, they both agreed to hook up with other people. Apparently, Julian and Jax, this Julian character that Jax was friends with, this gave me like PTSD of the early days of Vanderpump. When what was it? What was that guy's name? And Stassi's cheated on Jack with. That reminded me of that entire thing. This is gonna freaking make me mad that I don't remember this guy's name. Let's see here, season. Frank. Yes, this reminds me of like Stassi and Frank all over again. You know what I mean? Like that whole scenario, except for apparently Jax is not just simply, handling his things. He's just doing it violently, apparently. Leave it to Jesse, of all people, to make sense. Jax said it showed me a guy that wouldn't handle things the way that I did. Sir, calm down. There's a lot of guys that wouldn't have flipped over a coffee table with the understanding that you had an agreement to kind of do whatever you wanted to do with whoever you wanted to. But once you decide that, hey, we're going to try again. But the problem is they weren't together. The only reason you were flipping tables, imagine if she would have acted that way towards you. She opens your phone up and sees all that stuff. I don't know. Jesse's in a relationship. Obviously, Michelle's in a relationship with Aaron, and she's on cloud 9. I'm happy for Michelle. Like, she's always been a real one. Always felt like a real one. I always felt like she just was tangled up with this dude that just did not value her in the way that she deserved to be valued. let's see here. Janet and Brittany are having fun. Jax is literally blowing her phone up. So Brittany apparently has this like white party every single year. So in return, Jax decided to throw a party of his own at the same time. Jax just being petty as fuck. Brittany, Zach, and Naya are monkeying it up over lunch. Janet's mentioned Brittany and Zach aren't friends with Janet anymore. Janet went on a podcast saying the duo didn't want her baby to come full term, which is wild to say on a podcast. Like, holy cow. And then Jesse invited Kristen over to the house, and she is confused by it. Jesse wanted to invite Michelle's boyfriend to the house to meet him, but if he finds out that Aaron is the guy that wrecked his marriage, he will be irate. Okay. Jesse apologizes to Kristen about how he treated her because Kristen was telling the truth about many things. Jesse said, I am trying to work on myself to be a better person. However, 3 minutes ago, you're talking about if you find out this is the guy that ruined your marriage, you're going to beat the shit out of him or whatever. Which one is it? This guy has two personalities. We've seen it. There's times where it's like, oh, cool, let's have a conversation with Jax and explain the levity of you can't just flip over a table and expect your significant other to be okay with it. But the next minute, you're sitting here having a conversation about how if you find out this guy's the guy that ruined your marriage, that you're going to like flip shit on him. Like, which one is it, man? But then you're also supposedly in a happy relationship right now, but you're not really concerned with said situation over here. Very confused. You're giving me conflicting information. Very much conflicting information. Danny and I are struggling with all these babies. Well, no shit. He asked her to stop telling everyone that she wanted to have another baby. Another baby? What are we doing here? Now, Danny mentions he wants to move to a bigger place if they're going to talk about even having another one. Now, her idea of why she wants to have another baby makes sense. She's like, you know what? I want to have it right now, and then I can focus on getting my life together, my body back together, and all these things. I get that. But golly, whew, 4 under, let's just say hypothetically 4? That sounds awful. Apparently, there is a boys' chat, and the ladies aren't enamored by the chat. Jason, Janet, Danny, Naya are all talking about the party, and they're saying they get it, but Jax can't act the way he did. Tom Shorts has arrived to the situation, to the bar. Jax is sad because he isn't invited to his party. Tom breaks down that he didn't know that Jax was capable of this behavior. Tom said his feelings are valid, but how he reacted isn't okay. Facts, bro. Facts. He said, you're headed towards rock bottom and need to seek help. Tom said there's no excuse for it. Facts. Give him the business, Shorty. Give him the business. Party is happening. Jesse has arrived. The white party is happening. Jesse has arrived. Michelle said he gives her the ick. It was hilarious kind of how she said that. I laughed hysterically. Michelle said that Jesse overbuys for their daughter, and this leads to an argument where Aaron steps up and says, you get her whatever she wants. And him speaking flips Jesse out. And I mean, it should. This might be a controversial opinion, but Aaron, man, you were not in the right to say a single word at this time. You had no leg to stand on here. None. Zero. Zilch. This is a matter between Michelle and Jesse. You keep your 2 cents out of it. Sorry. Jenna and Kristen got to sit down and chat. The two bicker back and forth and get nowhere. She called Zach demonic best friend, and Kristen didn't love that. I don't know if we foresee these two reuniting unless maybe her getting pregnant kind of brings that, energy to the table. Jesse and Michelle are talking about their daughter. She wants to try and get her into school. They fight because she decided to go visit the school without him, and he wants to possibly move to Orange County. She doesn't want to move to Orange. She doesn't want him to move to Orange County, but if he moves to Orange County, Michelle said, if you move. And she goes, maybe I'll take our daughter permanently. Apparently, Jesse's new girl lives out in Orange County. She's like, you know what, move, be out there. But you ain't taking my daughter with you. The cameras asked this man if he brought that up just to cause bullshit, and he said yes. Again, I found myself in this entire episode saying, Jesse, you know what? Congratulations. You spoke to Jax in a way that he deserved it and said, hey, man, it doesn't matter what Kristen did. I'm sorry, what Brittany did. You don't flip over tables. Then the next minute, wow, he's apologizing to Kristen for being right and him being wrong. But yet, I'm going to bash Aaron in the face if I find out he ruined my marriage. And then I'm back defending him, saying, hey, Aaron, keep your pie hole shut. And then the next minute, you're just stirring up shit just to stir up shit. How old is Jesse? Grow up. Like, what a first episode, right? What a first episode. We can expect the drama. There's art. I can only imagine what it's going to be like Jack watching this back, if he watches this back. Because this is going to be hard to watch back. We are back, and I could not be more excited because this show is filled with every bit of drama that we want and need. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 1 of season 2 of the Valley Recap and Review. Let me know your comments below what you think of the first episode. We'll be back next week to break down episode 2.